Good morning, everybody. This was an interesting picture that I came across this morning, and I thought, wow, how did this happen? And where did this happen? Is this in Canada? And well, there's Tim Hortons, so looks like it. Anyway, this is Mercedes Stephenson, and she is the Ottawa bureau chief for global news, and she says, tweets, quote, "This pic below has gotten a lot of attention. I initially thought it was Photoshop because Canadian troops do not hold their firearms like that on parade. I've been able to verify, however, these are in fact Canadian soldiers who marched in the Khalsa Day parade in Toronto." And sorry if I got Khalsa wrong, the pronunciation. I apologize. It's not my intent. So this is the picture in question that I thought was possibly fake. And then Miss Stephenson goes on a very long Twitter, not rant, but lays out her case. But she's also in the byline here, and she links this piece at the end. So we're just going to read this. But I wanted to show you, this is how Canadian, sorry, not this. This is how Canadian troops usually march with their rifles. Okay, if they were armed, if they had their weapons, this is usual how they would march. So seeing this is nothing short of shocking, right? Like, it looks like they're on patrol. So what happened here? What happened here indeed? I have no idea. Well, actually I do, but only because I read this. Canadians, this is Global News and Miss Stephenson reporting, quote, "Canadian soldiers carry guns in full fighting order at Toronto's Khalsa Day. The forces call it misguided. A unit of soldiers from Toronto area reserve unit of the Canadian Armed Forces, CAF, were photographed carrying unmuzzled weapon at the ready, their magazines in place but unloaded, at a Khalsa Day parade that took place in Toronto on Sunday. The photo was posted to Twitter by controversial author and columnist Tariq Fatah, who has written extensively about extremism. The post drew over 2,000 retweets and over 5,000 likes, and she links to the Twitter post there, and it's embedded in the article. So the link to the article itself will be in the description, not to the original tweet. The CAF confirmed its authenticity and said it's not normal for weapons to be carried at events in this way. Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan said in a statement that, quote, "While intentions to participate in this event were good, the choice that was made was inappropriate. Soldiers with the 4th Canadian Division participated in a number of community and outreach events, including parades such as the Khalsa Day Parade," a CAF spokesman told Global News. Normally, weapons not carried at such events, he said. Normally, weapons are not carried at such events, he said. The decision to have personnel in, quote, "full fighting order," he said, was made after the commander of the 32 Canadian Brigade authorized participation in the parade and assigned the task to the commanding officer of the Lorne Scots. That officer issued the order detailing participation, quote, "including authorizing unloaded weapon carriage and dress," the spokesman said. The 4 Canadian Division commanders following up with this unit and issuing, quote, "additional direction to the entire division prohibiting the carriage of weapons at similar events. Such displays have not been seen at other parades, such as Pride or similar events. This time, the commander of the unit authorized this display in a, quote, "misguided attempt to show well-equipped CAF," the spokesman said. "It never happens at Pride or similar events because it's not appropriate," he said. It was not appropriate in this instance either. And there was actually a little bit more here, and I wanted to highlight a part in the interaction that Ms. Stephenson had in the tweets, but not in the article. So here it is. And again, a link to this Twitter stream will be in the description. Mercedes Stephenson tweets, quote, "Minister Sajjan's office has reached out with comment for the story. Minister Sajjan said, quote, "Our government understands that diversity is our strength and is an essential factor in ensuring successful missions, both at home and abroad. Minister Sajjan, I know the Canadian Armed Forces has made great strides in increasing diversity and inclusion in the ranks." Back to this. Quote, and it's attributed to Minister Sajjan, quote, "While the intentions to participate in this event were good, the choice that was made was inappropriate. I know that the commander of the 4th Division and the other commanders will take appropriate action to ensure that something like this never happens again." Interesting, I found that the start of this was diversity is our strength. In what way is this about diversity? This is about regulation and not following regulation, and having a commander that felt it was appropriate to have unmuzzled magazine in weapons held at the ready instead of shouldered like they should be if they're carrying weapons. This has nothing to do with diversity, Mr. Goodall, or anybody else and this was not Goodall, Mr. Sajjan, I apologize. Mr. Sajjan has nothing to do with diversity. It has everything to do with the optics of having people walking through your streets looking armed and ready for combat. That is stark and clear, and a lot of people were very upset at it. And at a Khalsa Day parade. What is Khalsa? Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in Canada, and I don't know. I don't keep up. So here it is. This is from the Brampton Guardian, and it says, quote, over 100,000 to take part in Khalsa Day parade in Toronto on Sunday. So I scroll down. Khalsa, which translates to pure, is the day when the 10th Sikh Guru Gobind Singh, sorry if I've got that wrong, laid down its foundation on April 13th, 1699. He also introduced the 5 Ks, the articles of faith that the Sikhs must wear at all times. I'm going to scroll down. The Khalsa Day has grown from 2,000 people since its inauguration in Toronto in 1986 to become the city's 3rd largest parade, which features colorful floats, martial arts performers, and members of the community dressed into traditional saffron colors. And yeah. Weird? Does that fit in this parade? We'll walk around with our rifles at the ready to show them we're well equipped. What? Come on. Unbelievable. Here's a Toronto Star article, and I'm not going to go through it. I wanted to show you the reaction on Twitter, but they used the article to argue that even if you wanted to close the border, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably too hard to do it, and they couldn't do it anyway, and it's really legally murky, and blah, blah, blah. I read the first 4 paragraphs of the article, and I couldn't do anymore. It was just awful. But anyway, the Toronto Star is tweeting, quote, what do you think? Are the federal Liberals right to make it more difficult for immigrants and refugees to enter Canada from the U.S.? Take your pick and read more. And basically, the response on Twitter is, yeah, they should be closing the border, and there are no refugees from the United States because they're only country shopping, right? And that's a quote from here. Yes, there are no refugees coming from the U.S., only country shoppers. And yes, there are no reasons compassion can't have rules. And it's about time. So it's funny how little support the open borders stuff is getting, in contrast to being pro open borders, right? People are clamoring for the rule of law in Canada, and that means wait in line, wait your turn. The last story today is CBC reporting Waterloo Union admits paying workers to be props at Trudeau election event. So the Liberals are imploding, 27%, a 10-point loss from end of January, the early February, the breaking of the SNC scandal. At that point in time, the Liberals were at 37%. They are currently at 27%, according to the most recent poll I saw, which was the one I reported on last night. So it's interesting to watch the continued implosion and the continued tone deafness of our leader-in-chief, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. CBC News reporting. Yeah, I've already said that part, so I'll scroll down to the beginning. A Waterloo, Ontario union that paid 23 of its members to be props at a federal Liberal Party election announcement in September has agreed not to do it again, following an investigation by the Commissioner of Elections Canada. During a September 15th rally, the United Association of Journeymen and Apprentice of the plumbing and pipe fitting industry of the United States and Canada, Local 527, paid workers $100 each to stand behind Liberal leader Justin Trudeau while he announced his party would invest $750 million for training programs for skilled workers. But the commissioner said that paying the workers to be there was just like making a donation to the Liberals of $2,300. That means 23 people were paid $100 each, right? The Canada Elections Act prohibits any person or entity other than a Canadian citizen or permanent resident from making a political donation. The Liberal Party was not aware the union was paying members to be at the event, the commissioner said, but has since turned $2,300 over to the Receiver General. The union and commissioner signed a compliance agreement, meaning the union has agreed not to do the same thing again, and the commissioner believes this to be true. The agreement said the union cooperated fully and in good faith with the investigation and provided information about the payment of per diems to members who attended the event. Now, I used to be on a union. I used to be a union steward and worked with that, and per diems are a thing that happen. They just mean a daily payment for, outside work. If you're a union steward or a union negotiator or somebody who has a job to do with the union, often you can't get paid a salary, but you get a per diem for the day that you're out doing whatever training you're doing. So I don't think necessarily the Liberals had any hand in this directly, right? It's just a procedural thing. Like if you work at this thing, you would have if you work at this journey as this journeyman or within this union, you'd be able to sign up and whatever. And probably it was, pretty popular to sign up and get that $100. But it's interesting that, like, I just want to make clear, these things happen. It's interesting they're getting caught. And it's interesting the spin that CBC is putting on this too, right? Like, it's, all of it is interesting because, like I said, this kind of stuff is usual. This kind of stuff is normal and happens all the time. And it's interesting what gets highlighted and what doesn't. So, and I'm not saying it happens all the time for political events. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it happens for training. It happens for anytime you're outside of the regular kind of day-to-day stuff. So nobody would bat an eye. In fact, it would be unusual to ask the union house shop people to do something outside of the regular day without offering a per diem. Probably in the shop, they'd be like, oh, why not the per diem? So I just want to underline that's kind of how it works. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.